What is up YouTube, and welcome to this video. In today's video we're gonna look at the famous Korg M1 Organ synth line. So this is gonna be one of those special ones because I love this sound, and this is the sound that really got me into house music in general. So this is what we're going to create today. Okay, so this is just basically everybody knows this song, this sound, like it's in every track. And yeah, I think if you don't know it, you probably haven't listened to enough house music. So, but yeah, let's get straight into it. So the first question might be, where do you actually get the sound? The easiest and fastest way to get the sound is to actually buy the Korg M1 VST on Korg's own homepage or website, and it's roughly around $90 US. I think it's a fair price, but to some people it might be a little bit expensive, but you get a lot of other really good presets and classic house presets in the synth. Other places where you can find it could be on Splice. You can find presets for soft synths like Serum or Massive or Silent One, who tries to emulate the Korg M1 organ sound. But in this tutorial we're gonna look at the Korg M1 VST. But as a little treat for you guys, I want to make a sample pack with one-shot samples of the Korg M1 organ sound, so you can actually play around with it in your own sampler instead of buying the whole VST. You can actually try to see what you can come up with. So in the Korg M1 VST, if you want to find the organ sound, you're gonna go into a browser and gonna go on organ and then choose the M1 house split. And then, because it's just a layer of the organ sound and then a house piano, you're gonna remove the house piano. And how to do that is you're gonna go to MIDI and you're just gonna turn down the level. Turn up the level on the organ bass all the way, and then turn down the level of the house piano. And then you actually have the sound. Let's try to get straight into it. So if you look at the screen, I have this basic MIDI clip. So it plays like this. So as you can see, like, my MIDI pattern is not that complicated. It doesn't jump that much between notes because I want to have like a steady groove that just follows along like the key of the track. And so that's basically what I did. I think I actually played it on my MIDI keyboard and then quantized it, and then I actually moved like the notes a little bit off the grid to get a more like humanized feeling to the groove. So yeah, that's it. Then I think we should move on to the effects on the mixer channel. This is with all the processing. So it sounds really fat. So I'm gonna show you how to like really emphasize the sound. So let's just turn everything off right now, and then I will go through every preset. So the first plugin is the OTT, and it might be a familiar plugin for most of you guys. Let's just play some sound and put it into. So the OTT is, as I know of it, it's a multiband compressor. I'm not an expert on the plugin. Usually when I do music, I tend to have the approach of a producer. So I don't have like the mix engineer approach. So what I try to do when I put on the plugin, I really just try to twist the knobs and see how everything sounds. And then if I like it, I'll maybe turn the knob up a little bit more and then just overdo it a little bit and then dial it back. I think that's personally, that's my approach to just try to explore how to like sculpt your sound and get your own signature sound. Basically, I don't want to get too much into the knobs. Like, you can just take a screenshot of like the plugin and try to copy it. basically what I want to do is like have the mid-range, I want to like emphasize it, and then like the high, the OTT tend to like put up some really harsh high frequencies. In my opinion, you can try to listen to it, and I try to crank up the high knob here. So to some people it might be okay, but to my own personal taste, I think it's a little bit too much. So that's why I'll just dial it back a little bit. So the next plugin is the Decapitator from Sound Toys. Just a quick note, this is a kind of expensive plugin to do distortion and saturation. And you can basically do kind of the same thing with some of the built-in plugins from FL Studio or Ableton or whatever DAW you're using. Like what the Decapitator does is like the drive knob, it kind of acts as like how much drive you're gonna put into the sound, like how much drive it's gonna be applied, and then you can play around with. There are some styles. I think it's some kind of emulations of different distortion units, but I just try to see what sounds great on the sound. And then there is this tone thing, and it actually does this thing like you can actually see how much you can push the sound, like either give it more highs or like more lows. I can try to show you. So basically you're trying to say, I think this is the way it actually works, kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you put it more to the bright side, it's gonna apply more distortion on like the high end of the frequency spectrum, and if you pull it back to the more like the dark tone, it's gonna apply more distortion to the low to mid-range frequency. Try to use like the native stock plugins in your DAW and see how far you can come with just using those instead of just going out and investing in like a really expensive plugin, because in most cases you can get really far with the free ones, in my opinion. So moving on. So this is an EQ from Native Instruments called Passive EQ. Again, it's also a little bit expensive plugin, but what I like about it is basically to add flavor. You can do the same thing with basic EQ, like a fab filter or like the built-in filters or equalizer in your DAW. What I just did with the Passive EQ is I just cranked up the 4700K area. This is just for giving some more definition in the 4K 0.7 area, and then again I applied a high shelf with 8K area, also just to boost it. Again, to add some present, add some like flavor to the sound. So let me play it for you. So this is with the passive EQ. This is without. With. So like really minor details to the sound. It really adds up to the whole picture, and you have to see it that way. Like small tweaks can really add a huge difference in the context of a mix and a production. Let's move on. So the last plugin I'm gonna point on right now is just some sidechaining. So let me play it for you. Yeah. And this is like it's like a plugin from Cable Guys, like the volume shaper, and I think it's great for just getting a quick sidechain result. I know you can do it like in like more technical ways where you can really sculpt stuff, and like I think this, for me at least, it's a quick way to just get through, like get the sidechain done, and then try to see how the sound fits in the rest of the track. Okay, so. Right now we have this organ line. And it sounds really great. But then I want to add something more, to maybe like add some signature sounds or like small details. I call it the secret sauce. So let me show you what I did. So what I did is that I took this pattern here, and then I just exported it to an audio file. So you get this file here. And then I pitched it up in the sampler by 12 semitones. This approach is that I want the main sound to like really be in the focus. And then like the layer, it's gonna be like a little bit more stereo width. So it's gonna play like more to the left and right to fill up like the dimension of the mix. So the main sound is like gonna be like really like punchy and like fat. And then like the other layer is gonna be, I think it's gonna be more spread. So let me show you. So what I took here is a guitar rig from Native Instruments. Again, don't get confused about the plugins, and like you don't need all this stuff because you can replicate it with the stock plugins. It's just the approach. So what I added was this amplifier. After the amplifier, I added some digital noise. It's a kind of a bit crusher, and then a side delay. It's mainly just a delay that's not quantized, and by not being quantized, sorry, it's because if you look at the time, like the values is in milliseconds. It's not like a 1/8 or 1/8 dotted, so it's just like moving, like it's spreading a little bit. Let's play it with just the guitar rig. Really crazy, but the idea is here. It really adds something like to the left and right. The next one is another delay. It's free one. It's really great, really good. It adds a really lo-fi character to the sound. Try to get this one. You can download it for free by just googling it. So it's just like 1/8 of a delay, a ping pong delay, to again add some stereo. I added again just like a high pass EQ filter in Neutron. Just use the stock filter plugin or frequency plugin in your DAW. It's just to remove the low-end rumbles that might be like added by applying the guitar amplifier, because like sometimes when you add plugins in your effect track, some of the plugins in a weird way is gonna add some like low-end rumble. Maybe you cannot hear it, but it can clash with like your bass and your sub bass, and then your mix is gonna sound muddy. So just remove it. This one is really important, this fruity balance. It's basically just a gain knob and then a balance knob, like going from left to right. What I wanted to do was that I want to tell this little device here that it's only gonna play when the main organ line is gonna play. So this one that we programmed in. So the idea here is, because we added this like really crazy delay, I wanted to only play when the main sound is playing, because then you're not gonna get like really crazy results. I can show you how it's gonna sound without adding this approach. Prepare yourself. This is gonna sound awful. Just gonna stop right now. And it's because like all of the effects are just like going mayhem, because it's not synced and it has a lot of feedback and dry wet. So when we're gonna apply this balance, so in FL Studio, you can like basically, if you right click on a lot of the plugins, you can actually link to a controller. I pulled up this peak controller from Fruity peak controller, it's called, sorry. And then what it basically does is that it plays this, it basically plays like the waveform. And then this waveform information is being sent to the balance plugin right here. So you can actually see how it's moving according to like the information that you give it from the main sound. So let me play everything together. As you might notice, if you're using like headphones, like there's a lot more like stereo content, and there is this really like a little bit distorted kind of sound, and I really like it because it adds a lot of character and flavor to your track. And it really makes, because the Korg M1 sound, let's face it, it's used in so many house tracks. So it might sound a little bit more generic. By adding like these small flavors, you're gonna make the sound a little bit more unique. You're gonna add some signature. I just added like these effects. You can add different effects. You can like maybe add like a flanger or chorus, or maybe add like, I don't know, three different delays in like different settings. Try to experiment, because you can really play around with the track. The more you add, remember to use some EQ afterwards. And that's, by EQ I mean like the neutron here. Listen to what all of these plugins are gonna add to the sound, and then listen it together with the main track, like the main organ line, and see, does it like conflict a little bit too much? And then you can like maybe dial back a little bit information here in the highs, or like maybe in the low mids. Again, use your ears, because like all combinations might sound different, so I can't give you an answer to what you should do. I can just give you some tools and inspiration to coming up with exciting sounds. So like now we have everything here. Let's try to listen to everything together, like the organs together, as we have applied processing. And then I'm gonna like go back so you can listen to like the synth line without any processing, and then you can like listen to the difference. So this is with everything. And this is just with the main organ sound without any processing. So this is just from the Korg M1 plugin. And then going back to after we have applied everything. As you can tell, it really added a lot of difference to the sound. This video got a little bit long, but I really wanted to like go more in depth about how you can do it. So this is more to give you, as I mentioned before, give you some ideas, some inspiration, some tools to how to sculpt your own like special Korg M1 organ sound. And if you want to download the sample packs, you can find the download link in the description below. Comment below if you want me to cover another topic, some other techniques. It could be everything like genres, or like how you can apply some EQ, and like this channel is going to be about production mainly, not so much mixing and mastering, because I want to like my main focus is to inspire creativity in the production stage. So I think that's what this channel is going to be mostly about. So it's going to be a lot of different things, like programming synth, like just trying out stuff, maybe also like producing a track, like a live stream. So yeah, that's it. Just comment down below what you want me to cover, and then I will try to find out how I can provide you with so much great information. So see you in the next video.